I had a cop let me off of a ticket one time. He said, "Oh my God, dude, I didn't know your dad was Ungoliant." I remember I was at work sometime. I was just talking to some dudes BSing. And I don't remember what the story was, but it ended with me saying, "Man, this thing looked like the dang spider from the Lord of the Rings crawling out of this lady's purse." No sooner did the words leave my mouth than this dang Hessian appears out of nowhere around the corner and goes, "Oh, you mean Shelob?" The dudes I was with were mercilessly ragging on this guy for hours, calling him the biggest nerd ever. And I'm super nerdy, dude, but the interjection, "Oh, you mean Shelob?" just sucked all the air out of the room. This guy was just happy to get in the conversation, but he ruined my damn joke. Anyways, man, I thought it was always pronounced Shelob, like Tony Shelob, dude. I got the spider from Lord of the Rings confused with this guy from Monk. Listen, man, we're gonna get deep into this spider demon. Spider demon? Sir, that's my wife. But first, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the button that turns on the magical flashlight that Galadriel gave Samwise Gamgee, brother. Scare away my wife so I can play magic with my bros. How the heck am I supposed to pronounce this? Shelob? I don't know. Whatever it is, dude, I'll probably say it a couple different times differently, but don't get at me on the internet. Child of Ungoliant, 4, black and a green for a legendary creature, Spider Demon. It's an 8/8 with Death Touch and Ward 2. Other spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2. Whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact with 2 tap, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life, and it loses all other card types. Now, Ungoliant has a ton of lore out there, and this is just a little aside on Ungoliant, dude. He was in the Silmarillion, I guess. I listened to a bunch of lore videos while I was doing Kung Fu and finishing 1,000 push-ups for a day, but Ungoliant was a primordial weirdo who killed some trees for another bad dude, but eventually ended up devouring herself. Alright, man, let's just stop here, take a look at that stat line. 8/8 with Death Touch and Ward 2 for 6 mana. It's pretty beefy and befitting of an ancient spider demon with a sweet stinger, dude. The protection for your other spiders, giving them Death Touch, is awesome. Gives you a clear direction to build into. And that third ability is bonkers. Creating a token copy of a sweet utility creature is awesome. So say your opponent has a Seedborn Muse out, right? You get a food with all that text when you kill it. Untap all your permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Or you can grab a little bird of paradise out of nowhere. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. I mean, heck yeah, dude. With Shelob out there, no other creature is safe. And keep in mind, if you do end up killing your opponent's consecrated sphinx and making your food token copy, it's still dying and just hanging out in their graveyard. If you lean into that creature destruction, you can include reanimator cards like Animate Dead to pull those creature cards right back out, dude. Now, the first card I thought of with this commander is Finn the Fangbearer. 1 and a green for a legendary creature, human warrior. It's a 1/3 with Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. This guy got a really bonkers looking metal looking reprint in the March of the Machine. Look at this guy wading through a pool of blood, dude. It's the blood of all the people he killed, brother. If all your creatures have Death Touch from your commander, all you need is 5 to get through and somebody's gonna be dead. This can be super useful if you're running token generation of spiders. It's a real catch-22. Either your opponent blocks your Death Touch creatures and you get to make tokens, or they die to combat damage. And the next card I thought of is Hooded Blightfang. 2 and a black for a creature snake. It's a 1/4 with Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a planeswalker, you might as well just destroy it, dude. Hey, listen, buddy, it ain't a spider, it's a dang snake, but sometimes you need spiders and snakes to be together in harmony. Imagine a tarantula riding a cobra in a battle. That's Poison City, dude. And, similar to our buddy the Blightfang, spiders are often tougher than they are powerful, which is fine when they have Death Touch and they're blocking with their reach, but eventually you need to kill the opponent. Then you got the Ancient Balloon Knot out here, 2 black and a green for a creature tree folk. It's a 1/4. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. The soft creak of trees in the wind is not always cause for comfort. Sometimes that means that tree is winding up for a wallop straight to your dome, dude. So listen, man, we're making food with our commander, so we can lean into that as well. And listen, I'm not going to recommend Academy Manufacturer for this commander. You know why? Because it's a replacement effect. Instead of creating the cool creature copy food, you're going to create regular food, dude, and that sucks, man. You don't want regular food, you want creature copy food. It's actually not terrible, and the stack of Clue and a Treasure could be incredibly useful. But I'm actually talking about Guillaume, Master Chef's, probably Guillaume, I don't know. 2 black and a green for a legendary creature. He's a troll warlock. He's got tramp stamps. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Has 1 sacrifice of food. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn, tap it. And this guy's pretty beefy at a 5/3 as well. This can be a fantastic protection piece for your commander, and he doesn't tap to activate his ability, so you can activate it multiple times during the turn cycle. And then we have Jaheira, Friend of the Forest, 2 and a green for a legendary creature, human elf druid. Tokens you control have tap, add green. And if we're leaning into food tokens, we have this little ramp piece, which also happens to be a little dime piece out there, dude. Tap your foods for mana, buddy. So we want lots of spiders, but listen, man, there aren't a million of them. It's only about 69 in all of Magic in these colors. Giggity. So let's take a look at some other changelings out there, dude. You got Mass Vandal and Realm Walker. Generically powerful and useful changelings that can bolster our ranks of spiders. These guys are hiding under their cool mask, dudes. Who knows? It could be a million spiders under those masks. So we want as many token producers as possible, and if one of these guys is going off in our pod, we got Curse of Clinging Webs. 2 and a green for enchantment or curse, enchant player. Whenever a non-token creature enchanted player controls dies, exile it, and you create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. Well, we plan to kill off a lot of creatures, you know what I'm saying? So let's double our token production. If you get lucky, somebody's playing aristocrats out there and you just get incidental spiders. Oh my god, dude, it's my high school girlfriend, Arasta of the Endless Web. 2 green for a legendary enchantment creature. Spider, it's a 3/5 with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, you create a little 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. Make incidental tokens with my ex-girlfriend here. We want as many spiders that bring tokens as possible, and I'm not going to go through the 30 spiders in this deck, dude. That's just naming spiders. That's not fun. It's not entertaining for you or for me. You know we need spiders. You're smart. You played Magic before. Man, the real meat of this deck is removal, clearing the board of commanders, utility creatures, and interesting creatures to make into food and reanimate. Once we get our commander out and a spider or 2, we can use cards like Ram Through to deal damage and trigger Shelob's 3rd ability. So it's 1 and a green for an instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. If the creature you control has trample, excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. They all have these little idiosyncrasies, each one of these cards, but there's a critical mass of effects like this. And 2 new ones with the Lord of the Rings set, Stew the Conies, which is a bizarre name for a Magic card, and Windswift Slice, which can be especially useful if you target our commander. And speaking of targeting our commander, you got Animus Might, 2 and a green for a sorcery. The spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature you control. Target creature you control deals damage equal to twice its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. This one's kind of a doozy, especially if we target Shelob. Hey man, let's draw some cards and let's do it with this bare-chested, beautiful man over here. You got Cheville, Bane of Monsters. Black and a green for a legendary creature. Human rogue, it's a 1/3 with Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponents control no permanents with bounty counters on them, put a bounty counter on target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Whenever one of those guys with a bounty counter on it dies, you gain 3 life and draw a card. This guy has Death Touch. He's practically a dang spider, brother. You just got to initiate him into the cult. Plus, I love his sweet mustache and his entire steez. Now, Setessan Tactics can kind of be a board wipe, dude. It's got 1 and a green for an instant Strive. It costs green more to cast for each target beyond the first. Until end of turn, any number of target creatures each get +1/+1 and gain tap. This creature fights another target creature. So this is kind of a modal fight spell that capitalizes on our ability to Death Touch everybody. It can be a huge swing in our favor. Then we have the classic Viridian Longbow, which is a little expensive, but it's repeatable each turn, dude. It's 1 generic mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to any target has equipped for 3. So this is a great card, dude. I don't know if I have it in the deck or not, but consider it. And out of the Minions of Mordor or Host of Mordor precon, we have another iteration of Shelob, dude. You got Shelob Dread Weaver, 3 and a black for a legendary creature, Spider Demon. It's a 3/3. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, exile it. So there you go, right off the bat, your graveyard strategies that your bros are doing are gonna be nullified. 2 and a black, put a creature card exiled with Shelob Dread Weaver into its owner's graveyard. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Shelob, draw a card. Has X and 1 and a black, put target creature card with mana value X exiled with Shelob onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Then you just round out this deck with a bunch of spiders, dude. That's it, really. It can be built pretty strictly on a budget as well. Fight spells and deals damage equal to power spells can be had for very cheap, and they're pretty cheap to cast as well if you pick the right ones. At its heart, Shelob, Child of Ungoliant, is a slower control deck, so you need to pick your targets well. I put together a $70 deck, and that's with some inflated pre-order prices for the new set, so this could probably be built a little cheaper a little later in the year. Check it out at the link in the description, buddy, but don't sleep on the spider, dude. It'll crawl into your ear and give you a brain problem, brother, trust me. Sneaky G from Better Commander, signing off.